Hello, this is Communication Director Anton Caputo here with Dean Claudia Mora. Welcome to our first Chat with the Dean. This is a new video series where we get to hear directly from Dean Mora about what's going on at the Jackson School. I hope you enjoy it. Claudia, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Anton. It's going to be a fun project together.
So Claudia, can you talk a little bit about the goals for this new series?
Yes, I can, Anton. The idea for this series came about out of my desire to communicate more frequently with the Jackson School community, and to begin to express myself, and to inform them on things that were happening in the Jackson School in general.
So communication has been particularly difficult during COVID, hasn't it?
It has been. And, I started my job about just a couple of weeks before the pandemic closed everything down and we all went online. And I became a dean in a bubble, basically. I feel very much like a hamster in one of those little plastic rolling things. But in many ways, I think we have handled the pandemic constraints very well. Faculty and students really jumped online and learned how to teach, learned how to learn online, and learned how to socialize online. And I have tried during this pandemic to do the same. I've been able to meet with the university administration and to meet with the unit leaders, but I still feel very much like I haven't been able to directly communicate with the larger community. I'm not able to walk the halls, for example. And I felt that this would be another opportunity, along with writing notes, for example, more frequently, to keep people informed on what I know, what I'm hearing, and what some of the plans that we've developed that are developing for the Jackson School, and where I think we can really take advantage of new opportunities.
So, as you mentioned before, part of the series was born out of COVID, which was a very difficult situation for all. Just recently, though, we had another very difficult situation arise. It's what's being called the Big Chill, and I don't think I have to remind anybody exactly what it was, but it really impacted people throughout Texas and certainly here at the Jackson School community. Can you talk a bit about how the Jackson School community and yourself were impacted by the Big Chill and maybe what's come out of it?
Sure. The Big Chill was kind of a surprise, wasn't it? When I moved to Texas, everyone was talking to me about the heat and not so much about the blizzards and the ice storms. But at my own house, we lost power for four full days, but we never lost water. And so when electricity came back on, we warmed up very quickly. But I know many people in the Jackson School, their houses were affected by broken water pipes, broken water heaters, and they're still facing extensive repairs. So I know I got off quite easily. I think the people who were most affected were the students. I've heard from kids who lost all their food, which is a lot if you only shop once a month on a student budget. Who lost use of their apartment, and some people who are still not in their apartments. They've had to move out because their apartment was also impacted by water damage. So they're really struggling right now. And we're really happy to see students feel comfortable in reaching out to us to ask us for help.
Very good. And so students can apply for aid for the snowpocalypse the same way they applied for aid for COVID. Is that correct?
That's correct. I believe you've posted the announcement right on the front page of the Jackson School website. So there's a link there that will take you to a very simple form that you fill out.
Let's turn now to a little bit of good news. There were two virtual events recently that were really very, very well done and kind of a celebration of the talent here at the Jackson School. Of course, we had the Walter Awards, and then we had the 10th Annual Student Research Symposium. Can you talk a little bit about those events, Claudia?
Yes, this was my first year for the Walter Awards. And my understanding is this is usually a very large, it's a party.
Yes.
And was disappointed that this year it's not a party, and I promise you, as soon as we can have one next year, we will. But the Walter Awards is a time that the Jackson School stops and to recognize the really fantastic people we have working amongst us. The quality of the workforce here is really, really high at every level. At every level of our staff, we have high performers, our faculty, our researchers, our students. And so it's really wonderful to be able to pause and say, thanks for doing this, not just well, but exceptionally well. And what makes the Walter Awards so special is that they are awarded to people on the basis of nominations made by their peers. So this is a very meaningful award.
The students got together here this past weekend for the research symposium.
You know, one of the things that was most exciting about the research presentations by the students was a number of research presentations given by undergraduate and even high school researchers. The opportunity to involve students in research at the earliest level really has tremendous impact on their career choices and on their educational choices. And I know that personally because as an undergraduate sophomore at the University of New Mexico, I talked my way into a research project that involved geochemical prospecting for uranium in New Mexico. And this landed me in a laboratory where I learned clay mineralogy and X-ray diffraction work, and I did neutron activation analysis. I learned a lot about uranium chemistry. And thankfully, it got me out of a waitressing job where for 20 hours a week, I was carrying ice cream sundaes to kids and singing happy birthday and wearing a little badge that said, "Oh God, Claudia is happy to serve you." So for me, research was a real win-win situation. But more than that, it got me interested in the process of science and gave me the interest to finish my degree and to go on to graduate school. So for all the students who gave presentations last week, kudos for putting yourself on the line and learning how science is done. And more kudos to your research mentors, because you may have started something with that student on that project that is going to change a life. So this was a really exciting day, I think.
That's exciting. That's exciting. And finally, speaking of exciting, we've had an exciting new hire recently. Andrew West has come on as our new Chief Development Officer. Can you talk a little bit about Andrew and what the Development Office will be doing?
Yes. Let me start by just pointing out that development is an essential part of education, not just at the Jackson School, but in every university everywhere. There simply aren't enough tuition dollars. There aren't enough tax dollars to pay for everything that we do. And so development or fundraising, private and industry fundraising is really how we gather the resources to support so much of what we do. Over the year, we were able to negotiate with the University Development Office to add 2 staff members to our development team at their expense. One of them is the Chief Development Officer position, and another will be a Principal Gift Officer who was being searched for now. By expanding our team, we should be able to expand the reach of sponsors that we talk to, and I hope increase our fundraising very significantly. So Andrew came to us. He's been at UT his entire career, or not entirely, but almost his entire career. He was a graduate here, and he's just had a terrific early career in development, working in particular with the College of Fine Arts. So we're really happy to meet Andrew. He has a ton of energy,
Very good,
and contacts. And then with Andrew arriving, this has, as the new Chief Development Officer, our past Chief Development Officer, who's Bell German, has been freed up to take on a new challenge this year. One of the areas of funding that the Jackson School had not taken much advantage of in the past has been foundation support. And Bell is now focused on developing opportunities for our scientists and our programs to find funding through the larger science foundations or other foundations, family foundations, like the MacArthur Foundation, the Sloan Foundation, and others.
That sounds great. And I know there are some other searches going on that you wanted to touch on.
Oh, yes, there are quite a few going on, and they're all going on at the same time this week. UTIG right now is searching for up to three new research associates. So it's looking to not so much to expand. They had some retirements and people move on, so to rebuild some areas of science at UTIG. And we're searching for a new structure tectonics faculty member. And in the dean's office, we're searching to replace Julie Bowers, who was our chief business officer, terrifically talented business officer. So lots of fresh energy coming in the door here. And there'll be faces that you don't recognize when you return, but I think the school is flexing its muscle, and I think we're all really ready to get out and run once the pandemic is over.
Great. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the very first chat with Dean Claudia Mora. I did want to mention to those in the Jackson School community that if you would like to submit a question for the next chat, go to the Communication Office's webpage and look for the link to submit a question. I think that does it. Thank you so much, Claudia.
It does. Thanks, Anton, and thanks to everyone for joining in. I hope I'll send some more words in written form or in spoken form soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.